Hello! So finally we finished our portfolio app and also our quiz. So if you open your require bins, you can in one open the quiz app and in the other one the portfolio, and then we can finally start to set up our developer environment. As I said before, require bin is a nice tool that we can quickly sketch the app and see the preview inside of the browser. But when we develop more complex apps and if we want to push our apps to GitHub and also deploy them to make them visible on a certain URL, then we have to use the real developer environment, and these are the tools like Git that helps us save different versions of our program, Atom that is a text editor where we basically write the code, and Node that helps us run JavaScript files on our computer. And we will also use terminal. I will show you what this is. This is part of every system, so you already have it installed. And then we will, inside of the terminal, install some other tools that we will use. So let's first start with those three: Git, Atom, and Node. Those things we will do only once, so this is setting up the developer environment that you do once on your system and then you can just use it. So this is not something that you always have to do when you start a new project. This is done only once, but because you didn't do it before, we have to do it now. So let's go to Git page. You can find the link to the download and click. So we can start downloading. You can wait a little bit, it should start automatically. If not, we should click and download manually. Okay. The second thing will be Atom. So this is the editor where we write the code. It highlights the syntax, so it's really beautiful, and it's made in JavaScript, so you can also customize it the way you like it. You can change colors and stuff. So we click on download and also start downloading Atom. It's of course open source and it's a GitHub tool. It's part of GitHub. Okay. And we also have to download Node. We want to keep it so we can open and run it. Perfect. Okay. So let's install Git. Perfect. So Git is successfully installed. Next, Atom. Okay, Atom works. And the last thing, Node. Perfect. Okay, so we successfully downloaded Git, Atom and Node and we installed them. So before we continue, just one tip for all the Windows users. So when you will be setting up the Git, so installing Git, you should choose this third option when it asks you how to use Git. So use Git and optional Unix tools from the Windows command prompt. So choose this third answer. Okay. So now we can continue. We will switch to the second task, and this is to find and open a terminal. So what is a terminal? Terminal is something that we all have on our computers. It's something that is usually used when you see the hacker movies and they are typing into some black screen and everything is flying. So this is the terminal. And it's basically a tool that helps us navigate through the file system. So it's like some kind of file manager for the computer. We can also use it to install stuff, to create directories from there or files, to delete files, and to run all sorts of commands. So it's kind of a way for us to communicate with the computer and to do stuff with, I don't know, files and commands, and you will see that in the future. So let's open it. We can go into the search, and if you are a Linux and Mac user, you can just search for the terminal. And if you're a Windows user, you can check for CMD. So you search for CMD, but Linux and Mac users can go for terminal. So we call it iTerm on the Mac. I think on Linux it's called terminal, and on Windows CMD. So this is a terminal. What we can do, we can, for example, list all the files that we have on our system. We can go to the files, so change directory, documents. We go inside the documents, and then we can list again, and we see all the documents that we have. And then we can go to this folder, screencasts, and then we do cd screencasts, and now we are inside of screencasts, and then we can go again and do list ls, and we see all the screencasts that we have, and then we can go back to the documents where we came from. So we do cd dot dot, so cd space dot dot, and we go back, and again cd space dot dot, and we go back to the initial root file where we started. So this is how we can use it to move around the computer. But this is not all. The main thing is what we will use it for, and this is to install our missing parts, and these are npm, n, and node. So let's run the first command, and this is sudo npm install npm -g. Okay, we type a password. And we will update the npm. With Node we got npm, but it's not the latest version. So we will update our Node package manager so that we will be able to install our modules. If you remember, these are the modules that we are using: Yo, CSJS, MiniXHR, and Chart.js. So, okay, our latest version of npm is installed. We can check what is the version: 3.10.6. Okay, so let's move to the next thing. So the next thing we will install npm install -gn. So npm install globally n. So n is a version manager for Node. So let's try it again with sudo. If it doesn't work normally, then we can try with sudo. So sudo allows us to get all the administrative rights to install stuff on the computer, so be very careful when you use sudo. Sometimes in some tips on the internet you will get advice to use sudo, but don't just do it because somebody said be very careful when to use it. Usually it should everything go without sudo, but if it doesn't, be careful whom to trust when they suggest to use sudo. You can trust us, so now you can definitely install with sudo if it doesn't go otherwise. Okay, so we installed this version manager for Node, and now we can also install the latest. So we update, and now we can see the version of Node is 6.4.0. So this is our current version of Node. So we, okay. So it's 4.5.0, and our npm we set is 3.10.6. Okay, we are ready. In the next lesson, we will continue with setting up a GitHub repository and with preparing everything so that we can finally push our code to GitHub and create our online version. See you in the next lesson.